Let's take a look at denial of service attacks in wireless environments. And these may be very simple. In fact, if you're using, for example, 2.4 gigahertz as a range, we might even be able to interfere with that signal with something as simple as a microwave oven next to it. So these denial of service attacks can be very simple in the wireless environment. Now, I'm not saying that's the only way to do it. There are many other ways to do denial of service in wireless environments. I just gave you one example here, a simple one. Wireless eavesdropping can be minimized with power levels and placement. Now, we often think about placement. We don't often think about power levels, but power levels are often very carefully set in a corporate or a public area so that signals only reach where you want them to reach. An example is my local library. One time I was doing some studying there, and I noticed that back in the book stacks area, I couldn't get a signal, but I could out in the general reading room. So I asked about it, and it turns out that they had only placed access points over near that area, and then they had adjusted the power so that it would not go into the stacks area. Now, I'm not sure the reasons for that, but they had used both of these, placement and power level adjustment, in order to put the signal only where they wanted it. Quite often that means not letting the signal stray outside the building. For example, a Starbucks might have a very weak signal outside the building. Now I'm going to take on a rather lengthy section here, social engineering attacks. Now social engineering attacks are preying on people's desire to be helpful or to be liked, to be polite, to reciprocate, to be curious, to respect authority, or simply to be creatures of habit. That means there are lots of social engineering attack types. Now, I'll put a link to this video in the description of this video since the outline is not actually in your course. In this video, you can watch a demonstration of a hack going on in real time as somebody performs it, and it's pretty eye-opening to see. Let's look at a few of these social engineering types. First of all, the chat-up scam. In this scam, you develop a rapport with somebody. You call them 3 or 4 times, get to know them. What you talk about may vary depending on who it is you're talking to, but then you call in a favor. Can you do me this favor with my password or whatever it is? The help desk scam can go 2 different ways. You can either pose as a help desk person, an IT person, and prey upon the helpful employee. Hey, this is IT. Would you help me out with this? And then you ask them to do something. Or you can pose as the helpless employee and ask the help desk to do something for you. So this is the total switch around here. Hey, this is Joe down in whatever, sales, and I can't seem to get onto the network, and I've got a client. This is really important. I need to send them some documents right away. Can you help me get on here? Give me a password change or whatever. The curiosity kills scam. This is where you take something like a USB stick. We used to use CDs and DVDs, but now you would use a USB stick and just sort of lose it. A parking lot, a public place, a cafe. This may be the method, by the way, used in the famous Stuxnet attack. It turns out that the computers at the Iranian nuclear enrichment program were air-gapped. By that we mean they are not online. They aren't connected to anything. There was no Wi-Fi. There were no cables going out to the internet. And so how do you get in? Well, you simply leave these USB sticks at a cafe close to the plant, and sure enough, some employee is going to carry it in, and they did. We believe this is what happened, although we don't have absolute proof of it. The authority scam, claiming to be a person in authority, demanding certain information like passwords or whatever. The habits scam, in other words, password guessing based on the hobbies that you learn about a user. Now, these other 2 are not really wireless scams. By the way, none of these were totally wireless scams, but may still be considered social engineering. There are 2 ways to get through a door, called tailgating and piggybacking. Now, tailgating is simply slipping through a door after an authorized person has opened the door, and of course, you try to hide behind something or be nonchalant so they don't know what you're doing. Piggybacking is very similar, except now we're going to slip through the door behind an authorized person with their knowledge. For example, you might have an armful of boxes, and hey, could you hold the door for me? I need to get through and I can't let go of these boxes. Pretexting or impersonation. This is just a generic term for pretending to be somebody you aren't. And I've given you another interesting video, and again, I'll put this in the link below this video. This is the story of Kevin Mitnick using social engineering to get proprietary source code from Motorola for a phone that he wanted to use while he was on the run from the FBI. It's a fascinating video and a fascinating story, only 4.5 minutes. So look that one up and take a gander at it. Okay, we'll pick up with war driving next time.